Good afternoon, traders and investors. It's Will back with another one today. Well, guys, another green day across the board on our indexes here. It just seems that this market can't be stopped. But does this actually signify that we may be in for taking profit soon? It's a very, very big question that I know a lot of people have on their mind. So let's check out if the market is still healthy and where the market could potentially top out as well. And I just wanted to show you a quick update on the account. Usually do this at the end. We are now up 63.3% on the year, which is very, very, very good performance compared to the rest of our indexes, right? NASDAQ up about 36 and the SPY now currently up just about over 17. So very, very good performance on the year so far. Definitely happy about that with the options wheel strategy. Now, let's take a look at the stock market as a whole and see where we're going, guys. Big earnings week this week as well. So starting it off with the heat map here, we have a pretty broad market here, guys, today. It was kind of split right down the middle. We had a bit of outperformance in tech and financials, whereas other sectors were on the downturn. So very, very decent market overall, guys. I'm quite happy with the way this market is playing out. It is still broad. And when we have certain sectors lagging, we have certain sectors outperforming. So some great rotation amongst our sectors here. You can see it on the one-day relative here. Outperformance in technology, financials, and a bit of industrials here. And we did have industries that were down, but largely our heavier weight sectors were able to really pull us up here, right? So the major sectors, don't forget, technology, financials, and healthcare. Those are the three big ones that you should really always keep your eye on, which is why they're the three that I talk the most about on the actual channel. So with that being said, guys, the market is healthy, but where could we end up stopping here? Well, SPY is coming up on a bit of a resistance area soon, like we were talking about in previous videos. 450 to the 460 range is going to be that target area. This is this area right here. But as I've shown on QQQ in the past, we are now past that area on QQQ. So QQQ obviously leading the rally, technology leading our rally, of course, which could bring SPY hard up into these areas and close above. If we close above, guys, we're going pretty much to the all-time highs. And at this point, we are now only not even 6%, guys, off of all-time highs. So some very, very decent performance. The charts do look healthy. Not going to spend too much amount of time on it because we are in full bull control, monthly full bull control, weekly as well, and the daily. At this point, we are just looking for a daily higher low. Anything above 438 is just going to be that daily higher low. Look out for this moving average here. It also corresponds with now support, right? Resistance becomes support. So if we do dip, right, we may be looking at a 1-2% dip all the way into the 443 area. But apparently, as of now, well, not apparently, dips are pretty much for buying until the bears prove the contrary. The downturn that I'm potentially looking for, guys, is a future rate increase potentially in August, coupled with some potentially hot CPI data for the month of July that will also be reported within the first 2 weeks of August. So if we are going to have somewhat of an extended pullback, I would be looking for then. But as you guys have seen, without any negative catalysts, any negative macro catalysts, it's going to be very hard for this market to turn around. We do have earnings season here over the next 2-3 weeks. So it's going to be very crucial to see how companies are reporting, whether or not they're forecasting for a potential big or small recession, and what they are going to issue for guidance due to those factors, right? So we have earnings. If earnings are poor, expect a downturn, and then into early August, potential rate increase here and potential hot inflation for July because we are in the middle of summer and people are, of course, spending their money more than they would be in the middle of winter. So just keep that in mind. But as of now, bulls in full control. Anything above 438, just looking for a daily higher low. QQQ, same position, right? Anything above pretty much 360, 376, right? Let's call it 364. This whole area here is just going to be looking for another daily higher low as the bulls refuse to lose this daily uptrend. If we do get a pullback, look for this confluence area. We got the 12 EMA and some potential support coming in here. So this as well could be due for a slight 2.5% pullback and would still be healthy because the bulls have created a lot of space for a daily higher low to be set. So full control, obviously monthly, weekly, and daily. At this point, if you're looking on the higher time frames here, we are almost near the all-time high areas on QQQ. QQQ only requires at this point probably about the same, right? About 5-6% for the all-time highs. Yeah, about 6.25% back to all-time highs. Your resistance area, we are now starting to come up into it, right? So just keep that in mind. But first things first, right? Need to lose the daily uptrend if you want any form of longer consolidation for a few weeks. So until we lose the daily uptrend, you have to still have a bullish lean. The dips are for buying. XLF doing a great job here of holding up. Like I was saying, anything above 33.24 is just going to be a daily higher low. It seems as though the bulls are trying to set that now with a nice little bull flag pattern. We do have a very sick support area down here, right? So 33.86 to roughly 33.50 is your nice support area. Moving average support, you can see this green line is the 200-day moving average. So beautiful support. Resistance areas now at this point are all the way up 36 to about $37. This is going to be this whole range right here, right? So bulls are now in a very nice daily uptrend. So the burden is now on the bears to make something happen. If they want to reverse into a daily downtrend, they're going to have to do something like that. But as of now, full bull control, just looking for a daily higher low with a future push. We do have a few big earnings here coming on the banks. We have Charles Schwab tomorrow, Bank of America tomorrow as well. So keep an eye on that for our financial names. And then, of course, on Wednesday, we have Netflix and Tesla kicking off the technology earnings, right? So healthy chart on XLF. Really like this chart. I did take a position in Charles Schwab tomorrow as an earnings play. It's a stock that I would love to own, especially where it is currently in the 50s area, and I'll show you guys that in a bit. XLV still doing a whole lot of nothing. So our healthcare sector, very muted as it continues to tighten up, right? But this is good, guys. If ever we get a pullback in technology or financials, healthcare obviously has a decent amount of room to run. So very confident that XLV is going to be able to pull it off when it does decide to do though. When it decides to do that, I do have a bullish lean, right? Just keep in mind, I pull this stock up every time, right? As soon as we get a tightening range like this, where we do have a pretty much bullish triangle, in my opinion, only because it's consolidated at the higher end of the range, right? It's going to look something like Costco, and we all know how that went. Costco with the massive breakout out of the similar pattern, right? And when it breaks, it tends to break hard. So I was very fortunate enough to accumulate a lot of Costco in these areas, and now we are reaping the rewards. So just keep an eye on that for XLV. Definitely don't want to lose this low area that was set roughly 2 weeks ago, right? So pretty much 128.73 is what you don't want to lose, and we need to crack above the 133. Need to see a crack above, break above, push higher, set a weekly uptrend. So the work is cut out for the bulls, but I personally believe that they can do it. Now, IWM Russell. So the small caps, once again, outperformance, right? Small caps up 1.07%. And you can see that our highest performing other sectors, financial and technology on the day, were only up about 0.93, 0.96 respectively. So a lot of outperformance on growth. If I go to my growth list once again and sort by highest percentage change, you will see that they are not the 1, 2, 3, 4, $500 billion market cap companies outperforming. It is your smaller names, right? A lot of smaller names in here that have been beaten down, like names like Affirm, Lemonade, right? Even some of the cybersecurity names, right? Some cybersecurity names that were heavily down off their all-time highs have now put in a decent bit of runs. You can see it in that Datadog. You can see it in CrowdStrike coming back a bit. You can see it in Cloudflare, right? Kind of trying to reverse the weekly timeframes here, right? So a lot of outperformance here, guys, in our smaller sectors, and you love to see it because personally, I've been waiting for that for a long time. So I am starting to write a lot of options on some of these smaller names here. Resistance areas now up, of course, as previously, 195 all the way to the $200 psychological level, pulling into that nicely. Very beautiful weekly uptrend. We've confirmed a lot of space now, guys, in order to set that weekly higher low. When we do consolidate on the daily time frame, it's pretty much the same level, right? So we're basically looking for a daily higher low. Currently bull flagging here at the top, which is a very healthy signal, but still anything above 181, guys, is still just a daily higher low. Look for confluence with the moving averages and your now horizontal support line. So very confident in this. I do think that we can start pushing higher into this resistance area soon. Dow Jones doing a great job here of pushing into our resistance area, guys. It's now do or die for the bulls on the Dow Jones, in my opinion. 34,500. Got a lot of earnings this week and the next week. So hopefully those value names will be able to deliver on their earnings, since over the past quarter, they have sandbagged themselves, right? So they've been giving below par guidance. I think probably in order to beat. That's the game that they play on Wall Street. They tend to sandbag their earnings, especially in a bad year, potential bad year coming up. They will say within the first quarter, we are lowering guidance for the year. Our expectations are X. And then they try to beat them, of course, during the year so that their stock price doesn't take too much of a hit. They let Wall Street price it in right away and then try to consistently beat. And that's why you're seeing companies that are slightly beating and then going up a lot because all of the negativity got priced in over last quarter. So still looking good here, guys. Still an inverse head and shoulders pattern, even though this shoulder is getting kind of long, right? About 5-6 weeks at this point. So we're now do or die for the bulls, guys, right? So anything above 33,700 is just going to be a hunt for a daily higher low to set a new daily uptrend. And we absolutely have to crack above this level. If this week ends and we crack above this level, guys, watch out, because I think at that point we will be gunning for the all-time high area on the Dow Jones. So just keep that in mind. A lot of value names do still represent decent value, right? I've pulled them up in the past, but there are still deals out there in a lot of value names, guys. So just keep that in mind. The market has not run too far. You still have names like Dollar General that are down a lot off their all-time high. You still have names like Estee Lauder that are down decently off their all-time highs, right? And these are very big players. Nike still have names, guys, that are decently off their all-time highs. You just have to look for them. I do want to put out a video whereby I show you guys all the ones that I'm kind of looking at on my list here in order to show you guys a bit more of the opportunities that can be had in this market, but the opportunities are still there to be had. Now, let's look into crypto a bit. Don't want to spend too much on this time on this chart. Why? Because it's doing the exact same thing, tightening range here on Bitcoin. It is still a weekly bull flag here, still trying to find a relative bottom here, but the bulls have created so much space. And I like the fact that we're consolidating in the top 25% of this entire move, right? It's looking decently healthy, but even with last week's bullish news on XRP, right, being considered not as a security, the bulls were not able to hold up their gains. So they're not ready yet. Even with the growth assets and our risk on assets starting to catch a bid right now, crypto refuses to rise. So it's kind of having a mind of its own at this point. Support pretty much 29,900, let's call it 30,000, all the way down to 29.5. Really don't want to lose this area here, guys, because then it could get pretty ugly. You could end up setting daily downtrends, which would just mean more consolidation. But for now, just kind of stuck in this range, not doing too much. Now, let's move on to the major techs, and we'll wrap it up here, guys, with my account and the trades that were made today. Apple, beautiful move by Apple, recapturing everything and pretty much setting almost a new all-time high here for Apple, right? So the high of the day, 194.48, which is pretty much the same all-time high as they had before on this candle right here, right? So we're pretty much double topping at the all-time high now. Tons of space for a daily higher low, right? Anything above 187-ish is just going to be a daily higher low. Keep an eye, 12 EMA, this yellow line here, very important. That is the one to watch. If they lose it, set up for the daily downtrend. The bears had it here and just could not confirm. They didn't do anything with it. Why? In my opinion, because the market is broadening out and short sellers are getting very nervous of holding positions into a broadening market. Weekly time frame looking very healthy as well. So at this point on Apple, guys, anything above 187 is just your daily higher low for potential further upside here. Apple, bit too rich for me. I do want it in the 170 area. Amazon, same concept, right? So we've now reset the daily uptrend to the upside. At this point, anything above this line, 126, is just going to be a daily higher low. Keep an eye on your 12 EMA once again. Why? Look how much it holds up in the past, right? So Amazon, for me, lower 120s is where I want it. Even at this point, guys, Amazon still does represent one of your best risk reward scenarios for big tech, as it's still almost 30% off its all-time highs. I agree with you. It's come off a very severe up move here, but you've seen things like this in Meta, in Netflix, in NVIDIA, and also Netflix from the bottom. Sometimes they just continue to grind higher. So sometimes the daily higher lows is your best target. If we start pulling back here in the middle of the week, I would not be opposed to writing puts below my 127 area, right? As the cheaper it gets, the more confident I get as well in especially holding it for further down the line. So that's just for me, guys. Keep an eye out for your daily higher low. Weekly time frame is still excessively bullish, right? No red flags at all. AMD AMD doing a great job here, guys. AMD played it a couple times today, as a matter of fact. So AMD bulls looking to set the daily uptrend pretty much in motion, which they probably at this point have on a technical basis, right? We have now closed above our most recent high area. So very, very bullish, right? Classic higher high, higher low pattern here, forming out to reverse the daily trend to the bulls. Love to see it on the weekly. This is pretty much our weekly higher low has been set at 107, right? So keep an eye on that. Bulls are looking for this resistance area 131 at this point. AMD had a very, very decent day today, opened up not so good, and then recovered almost 5% intraday, right? So very, very big move. Doesn't look that big, but when you put it on a bottom to high scenario, it was actually a very, very, very big day. Pretty much the opposite of what happened on Friday, right? So AMD bullish. My target area, anywhere from 110 down to 107 for writing options. The juicy sweet spot is down there, but it's now kind of a bit far away to get much premium. So for now, I'm targeting the 110 to 107 area because I do think that we'll be able to push higher into this resistance zone. Amazon, same. We've already covered Amazon. My bad. Let me just go to Google. Google, pretty much same concept, right? The bulls have now pretty much denied the daily downtrend from the bears. We have now engulfed the previous sell move, right? Completely engulfed it. And now at this point, anything above 116 is just going to be your daily higher low to probably regain the daily uptrend. So between these two yellow lines is a good support area. It was resistance in the past. It's acted as good support here. And I do expect that it continues to act as a very solid support. So we're now above the moving averages. We have our horizontal support area. So looking good for a pullback into this area, stopping out the bears, and then pretty much setting your higher high for a new confirmed daily uptrend, right? So that would be very, very healthy for Amazon. We haven't had a daily uptrend since pretty much June at this point, right? So about just over a month that we were kind of in this extended daily downtrend. So the bulls have now recaptured that. Looking very good for Google. Google strikes, in my opinion, anywhere from 120 down to 116 is very, very healthy for an options pick, right? What are we doing now? We have set the weekly higher low at this point. I would not be surprised if Google continues to grind higher into our 140 next area of resistance. Now, Microsoft also very, very, very healthy price action. Same concept. There's a lot of charts, guys. We've engulfed the most recent selling move. We've kind of negated this daily downtrend that was forming, and now we've engulfed it. So what are the bulls looking to do? We're looking to set the higher low and now reset the daily trend to the upside. So once again, decent moving average support. You can see how long it respects it, guys. This is not for nothing. I have these up here, right? So once they recapture them, becomes tough for them to lose them once more. Anything above 327.58 is just your daily higher low on Microsoft. Microsoft area for me, 310 all the way down to 285. If we do get and end up getting a weekly pullback, I do expect that would happen potentially in August though, if anything. So as of now, still looking for bullish targets to the upside. Where are we looking for? Well, this is the all-time high area, guys. If we can close above in the next few weeks, 350, we will have set a new all-time high on Microsoft. So congratulations to the bulls. It's a very, very crucial level that they could attain within the next push. So keep an eye out for that. NVIDIA, same concept at this point, right? So NVIDIA bulls doing a great job. Anything above 418 now, this area right here is just going to be your daily higher low. Keep an eye out once again on the 12 EMA. Very, very simple trading strategy, guys, that I'm running right now, right? It's just higher highs, higher lows, knowing who's in control of the higher time frames, right? Daily, weekly, monthly, right, are the most important time frames here, okay? It serves nothing going down to the 1 hour and 15 minutes unless you're really scalping or intraday trading, right? But what I'm doing in terms of position trading and swing trading with options, right? You need to know who is in control of the higher time frames and you position accordingly. So NVIDIA stock, very, very healthy at this point. Where it goes to the upside, nobody knows. Guys, this can go to $500-$600. Have you noticed that ever since the market's been rallying hard, nobody ever talks about PE ratios anymore? Nobody talks about PE ratios, market caps, nothing. Because in a bull market, none of that stuff matters. It goes out the window. Only when people are in pain and crying on the sidelines do they start saying, well, this stock is only a 15 PE now. It can't possibly go any lower. Its historical PE is 30 to 40, right? it becomes justification. At this point, guys, greed has taken over, especially on these stocks. So can they run significantly higher to where their fundamentals get somewhat ridiculous? Yes, it's happened so many times in the past, guys. You should not be surprised at this point. Just let the higher time frames give you an indication, okay? NVIDIA, if we lose the daily uptrend, then you go to the weekly. Okay, where can we lose the weekly? Down here at 403. All right, if we lose the weekly uptrend and the bears come down like this, they set a higher low and then crack, you've now lost the weekly uptrend, right? So now you have to be like, okay, well, you know, then we go up to the monthly. Okay, if they're in a weekly downtrend, it's possible that we're going for monthly consolidation, right? So one thing at a time. We haven't even lost the daily. Haven't even lost the daily. So just be patient with it, okay? So the higher low, anything above 418 pretty much is just a daily higher low. And that's just how the cookie crumbles, guys. The bulls are in full control of all time frames at this point. Congratulations if you're holding, right? And lastly, Tesla, very, very beautiful chart here on Tesla as well. Coming up Wednesday earnings, right? This can either do two things in my opinion, okay? We can either go back down here and test the 260 area, which would be very, very decent consolidation for Tesla. It wouldn't even make the chart look too bad, to be honest with you. There could still be a lot of options for recovery. Or in this case, we are literally smashing right through 300 and going towards our higher targets. If we smash through this resistance area, guys, it's over. The bulls are going to take this and run, especially if it's some very bullish news, all the way into the 350 area, which is the next level, right? So it can either go two ways. I did take a position on Tesla, but only because I want the stock. So you'll notice Schwab and Tesla do not play options on earnings if you don't know what you're doing. And especially if you're writing options, guys, especially short puts, you want to own the stock at the price you're doing it on, okay? This is one of my fundamental rules for the options wheel. I never recommend people to play earnings. If you see me doing it, that's just me being comfortable with the price and the amount of risk that I'm throwing at it, okay? I never full YOLO earnings. They're very, very conservative positions that I'm willing to be assigned regardless of what happens. So keep that in mind, please, guys. I've seen too many people get destroyed over earnings, trying to YOLO, trying to predict the direction. I have a bullish lean on Tesla earnings, but I would be lying to you if I said I knew exactly where the price is going to go, okay? So just keep that in mind. Tesla, anything above 265 at this point is your daily higher low, full uptrend, right? Full uptrend. We're running into the resistance points here. So it's completely normal that if we do slow down for a bit and kind of get muted right before earnings, I do think that if earnings has a bullish lean, it will smash through this resistance area fairly easily, getting further and further to the upside here. But at this point, anything above 265 is just your daily higher low. So keep an eye out on that. And if we do somehow gap down for earnings here, not too much of a problem here. Yes, guys, it will set up the possibility for a daily downtrend into further consolidation. But with the bulls in such good control here, guys, this is now our second weekly upswing, right? So we pretty much have all the way to 240, right? All the way to 240 to set a weekly higher low. So some decent levels here on the weekly that we have to fall back on. So tons of space, in other words, for the bulls. PayPal, look at this, guys, on the weekly, right? Now solidly above our moving averages. Look, how long has this not happened, right? Since January. Since January on the weekly, we haven't been able to close hard above our 12 and our 26 at this point, right? So very, very good work from PayPal. We're now filling the gap. You can see this on the daily, filling the gap from last earnings, which is a bullish earnings. It was just not well received from Wall Street because of their guidance, right? So next target to be watching is your 75 psychological level and the end of the gap fill here. I would love for them to pull up into this area right here and then potentially set a daily higher low like this, and then just keep the daily uptrend alive, right? So at this point, anything above 65.82 is just a daily higher low, even if we do pull back from here. Tons of space for the bulls and some now new horizontal support at this point right there. Previous resistance becomes new support, right? So good job above the moving averages, tons of space to set a daily higher low. If we just keep running at this point, it's all the better, creates even more space so that when we do consolidate, the most likely scenario becomes continuation of the uptrend. PayPal for me, as I've told you guys, my target for some of my shares here will be to $80, $90, and we'll be holding the rest to 100. Obviously, I'm going to keep some positions for the long term because I did feel that getting them down here pretty much was pretty much an opportunity of a lifetime, not so much a lifetime, but only the best price that you've had pretty much in the past like 6-7 years at this point, right? Even back to 2017, right? So very, very good price for PayPal. Still very bullish on this company as a whole. Palantir bulls cracking right above at this point. Bulls are in full control, right? So the daily uptrend has now been reconfirmed at this point, right? Cracking 2 new highs. Anything above 1627 is just going to be a daily high or low. It's fresh though, guys, right? So you would want to see a few more days of upside before potentially consolidating further, but keep an eye out for the 12 EMA. The last thing you'd want to see is an engulfing move by the bears like this and then set a daily downtrend. It would just pretty much send us into weekly consolidation, right? Tons of space on the weekly, guys. Anything above 1365 is just a weekly higher low, right? So very, very, very good job by Palantir. I do think that Palantir, if you want upside targets, the psychological level of 20, where a lot of people, guys, like if you just draw a line here, right, at $20, right, it was support for so long, for so many people back here who have now been trapped, right? So it stands to argue that your $20 to $21 area is going to be a big, big, big psychological level for the bulls. I do think that if we continue to the upside, that is exactly where we're going. So congratulations on Palantir. Bulls are in full control. No red flags, no reasons to sell at this point. Now, into the account quickly here. So I went over the percentage gains. If you haven't seen them at the beginning of the video, 63.6, 63.3. And as you can see, positions for the week now at this, guys, at this point, guys, one position that's not on here. So these are just positions that were expired, worthless on Friday. Interactive Brokers doesn't erase them till tomorrow. But at this point, guys, the new positions for today, the AMD 107. So you can see that I wrote them here, 60 cents a pop, 10 a.m. this morning, right? They were then closed shortly thereafter here, okay, at almost 1 o'clock. Or sorry, this is the wrong position. They were closed here. Where's the AMD trade? They were closed actually at 18 cents a piece. I'm trying to just, am I blind? Like what's going on here, guys? Can't find the closing trade anyways for the AMDs, right? But anyways, you'll just have to take my word for it. We did close them here at 18 cents a pop, right? So they were closed 18 cents a pop on the day. And what we did additionally is we went in and we even wrote more AMDs. You can see later I wrote the 110. So as the price came up and my position became worthless, it was about 70% profit, right, in just a few hours. So that's when I take it off the table and rotate the buying power into a fresh position, okay? Because you never want to be stuck. It serves me no purpose holding that position for 4 more trading days when I've already made 70% in one day, right? So 70% in one day, I'm not going to hold that same position for 4 more days for that additional 30%. That is how I optimize my positioning to make sure that my buying power is always deployed in the most optimal fashion, okay? So we also have some Enphase 180s. Enphase put in a very, very bullish day here. I'm not really chasing this stock. I'm just pretty much at this point, we have now done something that we haven't done since it's dropped here. We're now above, right, our 12 weekly MA. And that's very, very, very bullish signal for me. You can see now that the bulls are setting this weekly uptrend, something that they haven't done in quite some time here. So I do think that Enphase now does have some room to move, solid daily close, gap fill area to move it. So I just put in an order here for some 180s towards the end of the day when I saw how hard it had run. At the beginning, I didn't want to, but the bulls confirmed it for me. We broke above resistance. So at this point, if we come back down to the 180s or close to there, I'm a happy buyer of Enphase stock at those new levels now that we're using it as resistance. So I got 90 cents for that. That's 0.5% right there. These Nikes and PayPals are just rolled calls from last week on which I got, you know, pretty much 0.7% each for the week. So I decided to roll them. We have some Teslas for earnings, 267.5s. Okay, you can see Tesla 267.5s. Where is that? That is pretty much right around our daily higher low area, right? So, and I was saying before, anything above 267-ish was pretty much your daily higher low. That's the area that I'm getting, because if we lose that and we do push lower after earnings for some reason, I'm confident I'll be able to write in the 240 strike, diminish my average. But you can see, guys, did we go heavy? We did not go heavy at all, only one contract. So I played that, Very good premium, over 1% on it, obviously because it's earnings week, and with a decent amount of downside, right? Tesla right now at 290, right? So I wrote the 267.5s, so some decent wiggle room there. If I get assigned, I do not mind, and that is the key word, right? Do not play earnings. Nobody knows where it could go. They could have positive earnings and the stock could dump 10%, right? And I'm expecting that. So I wrote these positions. There's a plan set in motion. Please do not play earnings if you're not willing to accept the shares at the strike price. Schwab, same thing, right? So I wrote them at 28 cents. I believe this price is wrong here. I wrote the 56s. Let's see what it did towards the end of the day. I didn't even double check. Okay, so at the end of the day, we did kind of taper off here down, right? So 56 strike. We do have earnings tomorrow morning before the open. 56 strike is all the way down here. Coincidence, once again, our daily higher low levels that I'm targeting. If we lose these levels, we're in jeopardy of losing the daily uptrend. So that is kind of like my line in the sand, right? If we lose this, it's for a big reason and we're heading lower. At that point, I will have to start averaging into the position, into the 52 zone, right? And potentially even to the 50s if we start going down there. But I'm confident in our higher time frame bulls. Okay, anything on Schwab, anything above 52 is just a weekly higher low. It's just like Tesla. Even if I get a sign here at 267, anything above 243 is a weekly higher low. So I am still protected. That's why I choose to do these earnings. They're companies that I don't mind owning the shares, even if assigned at these prices, right? So Schwab got about 28 cents. That was 0.5% on them. I was happy with that. Only went with 2 contracts, not that heavy. Roblox 40s, as you can see, wrote them for 19 cents this morning. They're already pretty much half off. So great job on that. Roblox, you can see why did I write those there. The 40 strike is right around this whole area of support, right? So decent area here. A lot of support here. You could see it better on the daily, right? So it's kind of in this whole chop zone here. So now that we're above the chop zone, which starts pretty much here. Now that we're above that, I expect if we do come back, there's going to be a lot of support, right? It's going to be tough for the bears to potentially plow through here, which is why I wrote the Roblox 40s. Disney's 84s. Why did I write Disney 84s? Very simply, guys, they're coming down to the lowest price that we got in December, right? Which is also the lowest price unless you sniped it in COVID. Lowest price since 2014, guys, right? Almost 10 years. I know Disney has a lot of problems that they're going through restructuring the business right now, but I do believe it's a solid name, solid business, just trapped in an unfortunate scenario. Yes, the PE ratio is slightly high, but I'm okay buying a stock that's basically at a time machine price. If I get assigned at 84, won't be too bad. You can see that I wrote 2 for 30 cents each, not quite 0.5%. 0.5% would have been 42 cents with commission. It was actually 39, but you remove the commission, about 38. Very close to target. Happy with that position. And AMD, like I was saying, we're now up to the 110s. Those 107s, they were pretty much worthless. I was kind of riding them for the pretty much 3-4 hours and then decided instead of the 107s with all the gains, we're now up to 118. I wrote them back in the middle of the day, wrote the 110. So 110s still within a very decent area. You can see 110 is pretty much, once again, my daily higher low level, right? So very good job getting those 2 positions on AMD. Very happy that I was able to close the 107s here out early. Well, you can even see them on the chart here, right? So the 107s, last traded price of the day was 10 cents. I closed them at 18, right? So very decent day so far. Happy with that. And that's pretty much everything for the trading account. So wrapping up the video, guys. If you enjoyed it, if you learned something, consider liking the video, consider subscribing. I always appreciate your engagement. You guys are the best. Even though the channel is just starting out, I hope that I'm providing some good value. And then I'm not too boring, of course, right? So if you have any questions, put them down in the comments and I would love to reply, especially the options stuff, guys. Don't even hesitate. You want me to write me a long question or Will, why did you write this? Why did you write that? Like I could be like this one wasn't at support. Like this one is during earnings. Like whatever you feel. If you don't understand something, write it down below. I'd love to respond to you guys. I've been doing this for over 10 years at this point, right? So I do have a lot of experience. As you know, I was also a licensed stockbroker and licensed portfolio manager for 5 years at one of the largest institutions up here in Canada. So I've had a lot of high net worth clients, a lot of people who have bestowed this knowledge and helped me refine the strategy, right? So I'm always happy to share it with you guys. And that's why I made this channel in the first place, right? To share knowledge, to help make you guys have a better life, and understand investments better, if you do want to run an active trading strategy, as well as have a long-term portfolio, I want to present a strategy for you that's easy to learn and that obviously has consistent gains. You won't get many home runs running this strategy, but what you do get is consistent gains regardless of your account size pretty much, right? So love you guys. Take care. And I'll see you guys tomorrow after the open.